So most of the time when we see video games or board games go the other way, so board games are getting turned into like video games you can play on your phone, play on the Switch, play on PC all the time. It's fantastic. I love playing digital versions of analog games. I can just play them in a different context, play them on my phone, play them online with friends. But they go the other way around sometimes too. For example, this is one of the, I mean, this came out a couple of years ago, but this is the XCOM board game. And this one's actually a mix of a board game and a video game, because there's a component that you need a phone or a tablet or a computer that helps you manage some of the major actions in the game. And I thought initially that this was going to be like, you know, move dudes on a map, right? And then you roll the dice to shoot to see if you shoot the alien. It's not really like that. It definitely focuses more on the management side of like building your bases and maneuvering units to cover, to go after the ships and go on missions and stuff. There's a little bit of dice rolling to see if your troops make it out and win. And in classic XCOM fashion, the dice are very unforgiving. But I remember having a good time with this one. It's been a long time since I played. This one's okay though. I think it just doesn't feel enough like XCOM, if you know what I'm like. I kind of hoped it was more like move dudes on a map, but this is fine. This is fine. This one's actually the other way around. It started as a card game that got turned into a digital card game, then got turned into an actual video game. This is Yomi. And you probably know this better as Fantasy Strike. So David Sirlin at first was making a card game based on the Street Fighter franchise. It was officially licensed, and at the last minute Capcom pulled out of the project. And so we had this card game all done, and he couldn't sell it because he had the Capcom IP in it. So he made his own characters and his own universe. Adjusted the mechanics a little bit for his own characters, and it's a fantastic card game. Kind of hard to get now. You can't, they've repackaged it in a way so it's a lot cheaper, but it's harder to get all of the decks now. And like, I have the bundle. I kickstarted the second round of characters, so I've got all the characters in this one box. But it's a phenomenal card game that plays like a fighting game, and then it's gone full circle where now it's a video game as a fighting game and not just playing cards, and it's fantastic. So this is known as Yomi. Now it comes in bundles that sells like 2 or 4 characters at a time. You can buy individual decks as well. I'm fortunate enough to have, okay, let me flex here. Each character is represented by a deck, and I've got all the decks. And it's actually funny, with the round 2 cards, they also sent updated round 1 cards for characters. Like, they rebalanced the game, and they did that by giving you a set of new cards. Like, some cards get replaced by newer versions that you then have to manually put into the decks and then take out the old ones. So if you wanted to play V1 of Yomi, you could. One of the weirder ones that I've never actually played it. We saw it at a Value Village, and I was like, I have to get this. This is the Big Brain Academy board game. Anyone remember when Brain Age was big and Nintendo was like, we're gonna put up the follow-up, Big Brain Academy, and then you actually play Big Brain Academy and are like, oh, this is actually way worse than Brain Age. Well, they made a board game based on it with puzzles and stuff. I don't actually know. I've never played it. I bought it because it says Big Brain Academy on it. Maybe one of these days, for funsies, we can try streaming this. I have no idea. Or maybe we'll save it for Extra Life 2021, but I have no idea what this game entails. Randy says, I liked Big Brain Academy, probably a bit more than Brain Age, to be honest. Okay. I played me and my big brain. I played Big Brain Academy for a day and was like, I can't do this. At the very least with Brain Age, I could play Sudoku and enjoy that. This is one I've shown on stream at least once. We had plans of streaming this on the first Extra Life and I scrapped it But it is a fun game. It's Tetris Link. It doesn't really play like Tetris. It plays more like Blockus, where you're trying to connect your colors on the corners. It's still a really fun game. It's as long as you're not thinking like, why can't I like make all the blocks line up and they clear? Like, it doesn't do that at all. But if you look at it as its own thing that happens to use Tetris pieces, it's a lot of fun. And probably the coolest board game, like the coolest board game adaptation of a video game that I have. And again, I've never played this, so like I'm not judging it based on the fact that it's, you know, it's a great game or anything. But again, we were at the Value Village and I was like, oh my god, really? This exists and it's here? I have to have this. Berserk. Of course, Berserk from like late 70s, early 80s arcades on the Atari 2600. Some of the big claims to fame: this is one of the first video games to have voice in it. It was also the first video game to kill someone. Someone was playing Berserk and they had a heart attack and died. I mean, it's not that intensive if you play it now. Like, it's super basic. It's a character that walks around the screen, can shoot 8 directions, and you're trying to survive. Like, it's a very primitive Smash TV of sorts. But it's actually one of my favorite games on the Atari 2600. And seeing a board game adaptation of that, I was like, oh, dude, I have to get this. And so we got it. Again, I've never played this. I would like to, though. I don't even know if all the pieces are here, but I think it's a very cool slice of video game history. And yeah, inspired by tweeting today about the Stardew Valley. I tweeted yesterday about the Stardew Valley board game. And yes, I will be getting it. I may have already given someone a bunch of money to buy the game for me and ship it here. So it's not coming out in Canada anytime soon, but that doesn't matter. We're gonna get it here anyway. So yeah, those are just some. I've had other ones. Like, I had the Street Fighter deck building game. That was not good. It was just like we put Street Fighter characters on an existing game. The Street Fighter miniatures game I'm hoping to get soon. I kickstarted that a while back. Actually, let me pull up what that looks like here. Street Fighter miniatures game. Here we go. And this is the Kickstarter page browser. And yeah, I kickstarted this years ago. And it comes with 3D terrain. You can fight with multiple characters, 1v1. It's kind of weird that you're moving 3D space because, you know, Street Fighter is a 2D game. But I hope it's a lot of fun to play, and these miniatures look crazy. And you can buy, I think the base set only has 6 characters in it. I bought one of the higher tiers, so I should have like every character from the Street Fighter 2 series. I think I got this set, right? This one with like Cammy, Fei Long, T-Hawk, and DJ. So I think I got up to here. And I think that's it. That should be fine. Like, they give you characters all the way up to Street Fighter 5, and like I wasn't ready to throw down, like, I don't even know how much the most expensive tier is, like $300 US. Like, no. I went to get like a solid number of characters and then, you know, leave it at that. But yeah, you can see here, I think this picture of the miniatures relative to like Amiibo. Where's that picture? Right here. So yeah, the miniatures are really big too. Yeah, looking forward to playing this at some point as well.